I'm about to tell you the unbelievable story of a single mother and a wealthy CEO who clashed in a confrontation that changed every part of their lives. You won't believe the incredible twists and turns that led to this moment. My name is Jessica, and I was the single mother at the center of this dramatic encounter. I fought for my family every single day, doing whatever it took to provide for my kids. But when I came face to face with a multi-millionaire CEO, everything shifted. Today, I'm going to reveal the shocking conversation that happened, the secrets he tried to hide, and the unexpected turn that changed my destiny forever. You won't want to miss this. In this video, you will hear about the day that defined my life. I confronted a man who thought he could throw money at problems instead of actually listening. I was tired of being overlooked and underestimated. So, in this story, you're going to find out how this confrontation unfolded, what was said that left me speechless. And believe me, the final revelation will blow your mind. But first, if you want to hear all the stunning details of this incredible story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel for unbelievable stories every week, share with your friends, and comment "Fight for your dreams" below. Let's go. Ready? Then hold on tight because this story is so crazy you won't believe it. Let's get started. It all began when I was living in a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. My life as a single mom was a relentless struggle. Every day, I woke up early to make breakfast for my 2 kids before heading to my job at a local diner, where the pay barely covered our bills. I often found myself thinking, is this all there is? One cold morning in December, everything changed. I discovered that our landlord was planning to raise our rent again, and I felt this weight of despair settling over me. Yet I was determined to fight for a better life for my children. I started looking for other opportunities, and that's when I stumbled upon a community program designed for single parents seeking to improve their financial situation. Through that program, I got in touch with a local nonprofit that specialized in helping people like me. They connected me with a mentor named Linda, who had risen from a similar background and now owned a successful small business. Under her guidance, I developed a business plan for an online store that would sell handmade crafts, a hobby I loved, but never believed could be my lifeline. As I worked on my plans, I learned about the CEO of a massive corporation who had a reputation for aggressively buying out small businesses. I began to hear whispers that he was planning to target the nonprofit's budding entrepreneurs, including my small venture. This lit a fire in me. I wasn't about to let someone like him snuff out my chances of success. The decisive moment came at a networking event where I had hoped to make connections. The room was filled with entrepreneurs, but the atmosphere changed when he walked in. The very CEO I had heard so much about. He was charming yet intimidating. And as he started speaking about acquisitions, I felt my heart race. In a moment of courage, I stood up and confronted him, asking how he could justify destroying the dreams of people trying to make a living. The room went silent, and I could see the surprise on his face. Little did I know that this confrontation would take us both down paths we never expected. And so, in that packed room, the battle lines were drawn. But what I didn't know was just how far he would go to protect his interests, and how much I would have to risk to fight back. From that moment, I saw how my resolve began to fuel my ambitions. In the following weeks, I dedicated every spare moment to refining my online crafts business. I spent late nights designing products and connecting with potential customers on social media. The more I immersed myself in this world, the more I saw opportunities bloom around me. I witnessed my sales start to grow, slowly at first, but it was a start. I saw my first big order come through. A local boutique wanted to buy a bulk set of my handmade items. It was exhilarating. My heart raced as I bagged those products, knowing my hard work was finally paying off. I felt like I was building something significant, something that could change the trajectory of my life and my children's future. As my online presence expanded, I began to network with other small business owners, many of whom had also felt the pressure from the CEO's looming presence and corporate ambitions. Their stories inspired me, and I realized I was not alone in this fight. Together, we formed alliances, sharing tips and resources to help one another withstand the pressure from someone determined to buy us out. But then I learned about the extent of the CEO's operations. I overheard a conversation at a local business meeting, revealing that he was planning to acquire several local startups, the very businesses I admired and learned from. I discovered he had a war chest of millions, ready to deploy against small businesses like mine. His power was overwhelming. He could crush us with just a signature. While I focused on building my reputation and customer base, he was fortified in his lofty office, planning his next moves like a chess master. At that moment, I realized I needed to escalate my efforts, to not only survive, but to thrive. I needed to stand my ground against a man who believed money could solve everything. Just when I thought I had momentum, an unexpected twist arrived. An influencer with a massive following stumbled upon my store and shared it with her audience. My website traffic skyrocketed. Orders flooded in, and within weeks, I sold more crafts than I had all year combined. I was on cloud 9, but that meant I was now officially on the radar of the CEO. As my business grew, I had to navigate my way through a minefield of uncertainty, knowing the CEO would soon take note of my successes. The stakes were high. I was teetering on the edge, with everything I had built at risk. My confrontation with the CEO was no longer just a moment of bravery. It was the beginning of a battle that would determine if I would secure my family's future or risk losing it all. And then, it happened. I received an anonymous tip that the CEO was planning to make a move against me, one that would change everything. I braced myself, ready to fight for what was mine. Little did I know, this was only the beginning of a war I never anticipated. Would I be able to hold my ground, or would I be swept away by the tide of corporate greed? And the moment that changed everything arrived. The day I confronted the CEO, David Archer, was a whirlwind of emotions. It was December 15th, 2022, during the annual Developers Gala at the Grand Plaza Convention Center in downtown. I felt a cocktail of fear and determination bubbling inside me as I stood there, ready to defend my dreams. I could see him from across the room, tall and commanding, surrounded by a cluster of eager entrepreneurs and potential investors. Archer was known for his ruthless business practices, famously purchasing small businesses only to shut them down. My heart raced as I thought of my handmade crafts and how all my hard work could be obliterated in an instant. Then, seizing the moment, I approached him. The crowd hushed, and I could feel their eyes on us. "David, do you ever think about the lives you destroy?" I asked, desperation creeping into my voice. "Do you know what it feels like to sacrifice everything for a dream, only to have it snuffed out by someone like you?" His shock turned to annoyance as he straightened up and attempted to dismiss me. "Look, lady, it's just business. If you can't keep up, you shouldn't be in the game." I saw the disdain in his eyes, and that fueled my fire even more. "Business might be your game, but it's my life," I shot back. "My children deserve better than the shadows of your empire." The crowd seemed to lean in closer, sensing the intensity of this unplanned confrontation. With each word, I felt the weight of unending struggles lifting slightly. I knew I was making a stand for every small business owner overshadowed by greed. But then, the unexpected happened. Archer's gaze shifted from irritation to something more calculating. "You think this is just about you?" he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "I can make or break you in 24 hours, Jessica. You think your crafts matter to me? You're just another statistic." In that moment, I recalled the whispers from earlier, the things I'd learned about his acquisition plans. Despite my anxiety, I pointedly put on a brave face and said, "I've done more research. I know you're planning to buy out the nonprofit I represent, a move that would devastate countless lives, not just mine." His facade cracked slightly at that, but he recovered quickly. "I don't need your approval," he said dismissively. "All I need is the market to keep paying dividends." I realized he saw me as a nuisance, but I was determined to change that perception. I boldly declared, "Then it's time for you to understand what you're really up against." The crowd erupted in murmurs, and I seized the energy. "You may have the wealth and power, but you can't buy passion. You can't snuff out the dreams of those fighting for their kids, for a future." I felt the heat of the moment surrounding us. It was electric. But as I spoke, I saw Archer's expression grow colder. He was calculating his next move. Suddenly, he leaned in closer, and in a low, menacing tone, he said, "Watch your back. You don't want to make enemies in high places." The tension crackled between us, and as he turned away, I felt a rush of adrenaline. I had stood up to a titan in the industry and made my voice heard, but I also recognized that I might have just painted a target on my back. I was left shaken, but invigorated. My confrontation had changed my destiny, but the fight was far from over. In the days that followed, I received chilling calls warning me to back off. It became clear that I had ignited a war, and my success was now on Archer's radar. Was my dream about to be obliterated by corporate greed? The stakes had never been higher, and I had to brace myself for the onslaught that was coming. Little did I know, the confrontation was just the beginning. What Archer planned next would shake the foundations of everything I had fought for. Would I be able to stand my ground and protect my family? Or would I lose everything to the ruthless machinations of a man who believed power could silence me? The battle was far from over, and my resolve would be tested like never before. The consequences of my confrontation with David Archer were immediate and far-reaching. Within 24 hours of our heated exchange, the atmosphere of my life began to change dramatically. First, there was the backlash from Archer's corporate empire. I started receiving threatening emails, anonymous, chilling messages warning me to stay in my lane and remember my place. At first, I brushed them off, thinking I was merely a nuisance to someone so powerful. But soon, the threats escalated. My business, which had seen a recent surge in sales, suddenly faced unexpected challenges. Multiple orders were canceled by suppliers who, it turned out, had received advice from Archer to disengage with me. A trusted wholesaler I had a good relationship with called to tell me he could no longer work with me, citing fears for his business's future. I was left heartbroken and furious, feeling the walls closing in around my dreams. In my neighborhood, whispers of my confrontation spread like wildfire. Local gossip grew loud, raising eyebrows about my audacity in standing up to someone of Archer's stature. I could sense the judgment, but I also felt something else. A camaraderie from other small business owners who had suffered under corporate domination. They reached out, sharing their stories of being threatened or pressured to conform. Yet, even as I leaned on this support, the pressing reality emerged. David Archer was not merely a businessman. He held the influence to ruin lives. Within days, he had leveraged his connections to circulate rumors about my business, labeling me a troublemaker and a financial risk. My online store, once on the rise, suffered a sudden drop in sales as customers hesitated to support someone branded in such a negative light. But just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I received an anonymous tip from a whistleblower within Archer's organization. With trembling hands, I opened the message. He's got plans to crush you before the year ends. You need to prepare. He's coming for your business and your reputation. My heart raced as I read on. Archer was reportedly organizing a corporate smear campaign against me, intending to not only sabotage my business, but to take me down entirely. In the face of a corporate giant's retaliation, I knew I had to fight not just for my business, but for the very fabric of my family's future. Armed with the knowledge I had obtained and the unwavering support from those who believed in me, I decided to confront Archer once more, but this time with a strategy. I was going to gather evidence of his misconduct and rally fellow small business owners to stand against his tyranny. Little did I know, this would set off a chain reaction. Just as I was ready to take the next step, a shocking revelation came to light. Archer's own financial dealings were under scrutiny. Whispers of corruption began to surface, suggesting he had been running a shadow network of dubious acquisitions, using intimidation to get what he wanted. The irony was palpable. While he tried to dismantle me, his empire was beginning to show cracks. As the tension mounted, I realized that the fight would soon escalate beyond my small business. The battle I had begun was not just a personal struggle. It was about to ignite a larger war against corporate greed, and I had unwittingly become a key player in a much bigger game. With my back against the wall and time running out, I had to prepare for the fight of my life. Would I conquer the odds, or would Archer's empire bring me down in the end? The next move was mine, and I had to make it count. As the clock ticked and pressure mounted, I knew I had to make my final move against David Archer before it was too late. The stakes had never been higher. It was December 20th, 2022, just 5 days after my volatile confrontation with him. I organized a meeting with other small business owners at the community center, aware that our unity was now our greatest weapon. We gathered in the basement, a mix of hope and fear etched on our faces. I stood in front of them, empowered by their resolve. "We can't let him take us down one by one," I declared, feeling the urgency of our mission. "Archer thinks he can crush our voices, but together, we can show him we are stronger than he believes." But as I was laying down our strategy, my phone buzzed violently, cutting through our palpable tension. A text from an anonymous source read, "Archer is planning to make his move on you. Be prepared. December 22nd, he's coming for your business and your reputation." The unease sent chills down my spine. I had to act fast. I decided to gather undeniable evidence against him. Working through the night, I reached out to contacts, piecing together a timeline of Archer's aggressive takeovers and any unethical practices I could find. I learned that he was planning to use his corporate clout to smear my reputation during a press conference at his headquarters. The stakes of this battle escalated quickly, and I felt emboldened, yet terrified. On the morning of December 22nd, I arrived at Archer's headquarters, determined to confront him with the evidence I gathered and expose his true nature to the world. It was a cloudy day, and something in the air heightened my anxiety as I took a deep breath and prepared for the confrontation of a lifetime. Entering the massive glass and steel building, I felt small again, but I also felt the support of everyone who believed in me. I marched up to the main conference room just as Archer was about to speak about his latest acquisitions. A crowd of reporters and investors filled the room, and the tension was palpable. As he stood poised to deliver his speech, I stood up, interrupting him mid-sentence. "David Archer, are you really going to sit here and pretend to care about the community while destroying countless dreams? You intend to sabotage honest businesses, including mine." I could see his expression shift from surprise to anger, and the murmur in the room intensified. "Who do you think you are?" he snapped back, trying to maintain control over the room that was suddenly shifting in my favor. "I'm the voice of all the small business owners that you've tried to erase. I've gathered evidence of your shady practices, and I'll make it public if you continue this tyranny." My heart raced as I made my demands clear. But before I could go further, I presented the documented timeline of his unethical actions, revealing the corporate hold he had on local businesses. In that moment, I saw the cracks form in his armor. The murmurs of the crowd grew louder, skepticism brewing about Archer's past dealings. But he quickly regained his composure. "You have no proof. I can crush you in an instant." But the falter in his voice hinted at the worries creeping into his mind. And then, the biggest revelation hit. A seasoned journalist from the back of the room spoke up at the right moment. I was tipped off about Archer's questionable acquisitions and the destruction left in his wake. This isn't the first time he's faced allegations of misconduct. The crowd erupted, and I could see panic flicker in Archer's eyes. Just as the tide began to turn, Archer made a rash decision. "Security! Remove her!" he bellowed. But before they could act, the journalist pressed a recording device against Archer. "You're going to want to answer questions about this soon, David. The hammer is coming down, and it's not just her fighting you. Your empire is about to face scrutiny like never before." The room erupted into chaos. I felt the thrill of standing my ground, while the seconds swelled into a cacophony of accountability. Archer's bravado evaporated, and in that moment, I knew his empire was about to fall apart under the pressure of truth. And that was how I, a single mom, turned the tables on a titan of industry. Archer may have thought he could monologue and dominate, but in fighting for my family, I ignited a fire that would ultimately expose his empire's corruption. As security escorted me out, I felt a surge of relief merging with adrenaline. I planned to share the full story with everyone who had supported me. And even more importantly, to continue standing up against unethical business practices in our community. My battle was far from over, but the confrontation with Archer had changed everything. And now, the stakes were not just about my business. It was about exposing the rot hiding behind corporate masks. Would we all emerge victorious? Only time would tell, but I was ready for whatever came next. I had transformed not just my destiny, but also the hope for countless others, fighting corporate giants like Archer. As the dust settled from that day, I could already feel the momentum shifting. My next move would be critical in the ongoing fight to reclaim our dreams. One battle had ended, but the war against greed had just begun. And that is how my confrontation with David Archer, the CEO who believed he could snuff out dreams with his wealth, changed my life and the lives of many others in just 24 hours. My bravery sparked a movement among small business owners, united against corporate greed, and exposed the dark underbelly of his empire. While it was terrifying to stand up against someone so powerful, that single act of defiance ignited a fire, rallying others to fight for their dreams. Today, as I stand in my bustling online store with a loyal customer base and ongoing support from my community, I reflect on how far I've come. The whispers of defeat have turned into shouts of resilience. Archer faced scrutiny that led to investigations into his unethical practices, and I wouldn't have it any other way. His empire has begun to crumble under the weight of accountability, while my business continues to thrive. This story teaches us the immense price of fighting for your truth. It highlights that resilience can shift the tide against powerful entities, proving that collective voices can change destiny. Standing up for what is right might come with risks, but the potential rewards can profoundly impact lives beyond your own. And if this story grabbed you, like this video because it helps the channel a lot. Subscribe and hit the bell because I upload stories just as intense as this every week. Share it with anyone who loves these themes. And comment below, do you think I did the right thing by confronting him? Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll delve into another incredible story of resilience against corporate injustice.